Hey, good morning. It is meteorologist Tracy Beene, and we just finished Wake Up Central, of course, but we're going to start talking a little bit more about a little more in depth and take some questions as well on what we are expecting throughout the day. We're already starting to see those winds pick up, especially in southern Arkansas and, of course, in northwest Arkansas, and that makes sense. We're seeing a lot of that activity move in from Oklahoma, but today's going to be one of those days we're going to make sure that we are able to receive watches and warnings, all of the weather updates, and so the best way to do that is to download that THV11 app. You can choose exactly what you want to see and what you want to get. You can turn that off and on, so no worries there, but it's the best way, especially like throughout the day, and then of course even in the overnight hours we are looking at those storms pushing in. You get a little sidetracked or you're sleeping. We need to make sure that we are keeping ourselves safe, and so again we are talking about this weather impact alert for some strong to severe storms that are pushing through today. We're going to have some damaging winds. We could have an isolated tornado, so making sure you're staying informed, and again having multiple ways to receive any type of watches and warnings, and then also thinking about the timing of this, having a plan, because you'll see here in a few minutes the timing of this. So hopefully it's going to be moving out, hopefully, I say hopefully, by the time the kids are getting out of school. So that as a mom is concerning to me, because of course I've got younger kids, we've got car lines, we've got kids on buses, we've also got kids getting off the bus to get home and kids walking home. So it's something to think about and keep in mind, and just having a plan. Of course the schools will keep everyone safe, but you know, with teenagers driving around, you want to make sure that you're talking to them about that as well. So again, today is the day to stay weather aware. We are under that area of significant enhanced from the Storm Prediction Center for severe weather. Now this has kind of gone a little back and forth, and we've talked a lot about the CAPE and that storm fuel. We've got a lot of wind shear, and usually when you have those together, that's when you start talking about some very much storms and the tornadoes and kind of more of that outbreak. What we're seeing here is a lot of shear and not a lot of CAPE, but sometimes they kind of help each other out a little bit. So that's the reason the Storm Prediction Center has kept us in that enhanced area. But I think mostly we're going to be looking at a wind event for the majority of the state. Again, but I don't want you to put your guard down and not think that we aren't going to get an isolated tornado. It is certainly possible today, but southern Arkansas I think has the best risk for that, unfortunately. And again, we're going to time all of that out, but this is what we're looking at for today, and again the beginning of spring, the beginning of March, and so this is something we're going to talk about a little bit more. And so after that beautiful week last week, people have their guard down a little bit, so we've kind of been pushing this a little bit more, especially that's why we issued our weather impact alert over the weekend, because it's so beautiful. You don't expect all of this weather, this type of weather, to kind of hit you as you're getting started at the beginning of the week. So let's take a look at this storm timeline. Again, we're already starting to see a few of those rain showers and those watches and warnings into the western portion of the state. They'll begin to see that pushing in, and hopefully all of that will be over by noon. For central portion of the state, I think we'll start to see some rain as we're heading into that 8:30, 9 o'clock hour, and I think those more impactful storms, the stronger storms, are going to push through around that noon to 1 o'clock time frame. We'll look at the timing again here in a second, and hopefully be out of here around 3. But again, that talks about the time the kids are heading home and buses and kids are walking. So we're going to watch for that as well. And then for eastern Arkansas, noon to 5 p.m. I'm hoping this is out of the state completely by the early evening hours, and we're actually probably going to see a little clearing and maybe even a little sun later this afternoon. But taking a look at our just more broad here 1 hour radar loop, you can see in Oklahoma there's a lot of activity. They're already seeing tornado watches and warnings, severe thunderstorms as well. A lot of activity as they're heading into the morning hours, and we're starting to see that push into western Arkansas, and already starting to see a few showers pop up, especially in the southern portion of the state. Kind of zooming in on us here a little bit. Again, southern Arkansas already seeing the bulk of those showers, and starting to see a few little showers just north of the metro, but keeping a watch on these areas right here, that thunderstorm watch for northwest Arkansas, and then that tornado watch for areas such as Mena and Waldron. And this is going to be until 11 a.m. and I kind of think this is really just going to shift throughout the state throughout the day, and that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on again. But once these storms and that line goes through, things are looking much better for you, and conditions will improve very quickly. But again, you have to watch that time frame. Now, one thing that's going to stick around for all of us is this wind advisory. Now, with these winds in the storm, with the bulk of the storms, we could see some gusts that are anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour. But outside of that, we do have a wind advisory that is going to be seeing these gusty winds even before the storm, during them, after them, overnight hours into Wednesday. So this wind advisory is in effect from this morning until 6 p.m. on Wednesday. But again, remember that even outside of this wind advisory, within those storms, those severe storms, we could see even higher. But this wind advisory could see gusts up to 50. So it's going to be very breezy. And that's something we're going to have to deal with over the next day or two. So again, taking an overall look here at our area, we've got that line pushing through into the western portion of the state. And if you look back behind that, you can see that really wrapping up that counterclockwise rotation. That is a very strong low pressure system that's making its way to us. It's also pushing that line very quickly into the state, but we can see those areas of severe weather are continuing to be just pushed more eastward. So that's going to be the case throughout the day. Right now we've got a southerly flow, and that's pushing in with those colder air. That clash is what is creating a lot of these storms, and some of them going a bit more severe. Now, for the ingredients for this severe weather, of course, you need that instability. You need the wind shear. You need, we talked about the cape, that's that instability. The cape is fairly low, but that wind shear is very high. And sometimes they can kind of help each other out if one's a little bit lower. And that's why we're keeping this in mind today, that even though we don't have the perfect ingredients for a more severe situation, that wind shear is impressive, and it could again help that that storm fuel kind of develop some of those isolated tornadoes. So that's something we're really going to watch today, especially in the southern portion of the state. But we're going to look at the Cape here in a second, and you'll see that it does come through, but it's not coming through the same time as the storms. So they need to be around at the same time. So that's good news for us. But we're really wanting a lot of this rain to continue to push ahead of that line. You can see that line is right there on the border of western Arkansas, and then you've got a few storms ahead of it. We really want that rain to come through. That will help stabilize this atmosphere and kind of cool things down and kind of, if you will, take a lot of the energy out of these storms, and that's a good thing. We're still going to see some very strong storms regardless. We're still going to see some very windy conditions, and we're still going to see some areas of heavy rain. All of that still is going to be, even with the extra rain that helps stabilize things. But it does help lessen the chances for those tornadoes. So that's really something we're really hoping for over the next couple of hours. Now, this is going to be around 11:30 as we're heading into the noon hours. I mentioned we're seeing a lot of impactful storms is pushing in, especially in southern Arkansas. You can see those little dots of purple as well in the extreme southern portion and those darker reds. We're going to be watching this, and again, these storms are kind of breaking up here. So again, we're hoping at that point that these storms have started to stabilize a little bit and run out of a little bit of juice, if you will, and as it continues through the day. But things pick back up by the afternoon. I think with the afternoon heating, again, we're starting to see some intense storms in southern Arkansas. But some of these storms outside of the line can kind of go more supercell, and we could see those areas with those isolated tornadoes, or we could see the winds. The wind shear is also going to be an issue today. And so anytime you see that line make a bit of a bowing area, that means you've got some crazy winds headed your way, and those in themselves can do a bit of damage as well. So again, talking about having the latest watches and warnings, all that information heading to you. But this is around 2 o'clock. I'm still seeing some heavier rain and some thunderstorms in central Arkansas. Most of the activity has pushed off to the east, and we're starting to see a bit of clearing off to the west. Again, once it moves through, we're going to see some clearing by 4 p.m. in western Arkansas. May see a few little showers, and we may still have a little bit of rain as we're all heading home for school and then from work as well. But again, most of that dangerous line, that line of storms, is pushed out of the state by 4 to 5 p.m., which is good news. But again, that doesn't mean we still can't have a few little lingering storms as well that could be strong to severe. as we're heading into the tomorrow, we're going to see some really cold air wrapping into northern Arkansas, and they will be below freezing, so they could see a few flurries and maybe a little accumulation on the grass, but again, not expecting anything there to be too much, but we're keeping that in mind and just letting you know. And so if you see snow, don't worry, it's going to move away quickly, but by Thursday the winds calm down, the sun comes out, and things are being a little bit better. I'm talking about that storm fuel, and again, we'll go over this again here in just a few minutes, but you can see it really doesn't push in to western Arkansas until around 3, and most of the storms have pushed off to the east, but we're keeping that in mind. Again, there's a little there for some of these storms to go ahead and ignite, but overall today we're just mainly going to watch for these strong to severe storms. Again, we will be here streaming all day on and off. I'll be back again with Simone around 10:30, and then we're also going to have Tom and Nathan at 2:30 this afternoon. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. We do have to do a quick cut-in for CBS Mornings in about 3 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and continue here in just a few minutes. But I have a couple of questions that came in, so my producer's kind of feeding them to me here in my earpiece. And so what are the tornado chances for today is the question. So tornado chances have lessened, but I don't want the guard to go down for that. Some of these storms could certainly produce those tornadoes. I think I'm mostly concerned about in southern Arkansas, where we're seeing that more impactful ingredients kind of coming together. The further you go north, I think the chances do lessen. However, I don't want anyone to put their guard down, because we will have some strong to severe storms pushing through the state today, especially into the afternoon hours with that max heating. Have tornado chances gone down? Yes, but are they still there? Certainly. As far as percentage wise, I think southern Arkansas has a greater chance of receiving that more of a tornado threat than the rest of the state, but we're all at a risk for that today. It's one of those days where we're just really going to have to watch, and one of those little small cells can spin off on its own, and one cell can do that and cause a bit of damage as well. But we can't forget the winds. The winds are going to be a factor today as well, just from a gusting standpoint. And so do we have another question, Peyton? What time does the line of storm hit Hot Springs? Well, let's take a look here real quick. We'll time that out one more time. Takes a minute to load, but I think that's going to start pushing into our area, into western Arkansas again. Starting to see that now, but let's see, this is around 9:30. I think you could start seeing some of the storms again around 9:30 in Hot Springs. And as we are moving forward, I'm just going to move this manually. Looks like some of that rain shower is kind of stabilizing the atmosphere a little bit, so that line is breaking up a little. But you can see by 11, you're still seeing some of those storms. So I think you could probably start seeing a few of those storms that could be a bit strong by 9 to 9:30 this morning. And then again, we're starting to see it push out fairly quickly. And by noon, hopefully you'll just be left with a lot of rain, and then starting to see some clouds. You may even have a little sun in Hot Springs by later this afternoon, even early this afternoon by 1:30, 2 o'clock, if we can get those clouds out of here. But overall, again, the tornado threat has lessened, and just really focusing on the southern portion of the state for that. But I don't want to rule that out for everyone, because again, one cell can make for a lot of trouble. So Peyton, do we have another question, or we need to get ready real quick for our CBS cut-in? Okay. We've got about a minute to our CBS cut-in, and I will just do that real quick. It is a quick 30-second hit that we do for them, and then I'll come right back to you. But again, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and I would love your questions, 501-376-1111. Again, we're talking severe storms today that could be strong, and again, we're going to keep answering these questions and keep you updated throughout the day. All right, we've got one more question here. Yes, the possibility of hail is there. It's that smaller hail, but again, small hail can cause a lot of trouble on cars. We're watching for that to be the lowest threat of all of the tornado, wind, and hail. Hail's the least of our worries. Could it be possible? Yes, but I don't think it will be widespread, and we're not looking for huge hail, if you will. So certainly a possibility, but again, it is the lower of the things that we are worried about today, and the least we're expecting out of these storms, mainly just wind and against a heavy rain. So we're going to pause for just a minute, and again, I'm going to do this quick CBS cut-in, and we'll be back in just a minute to finish answering some more questions and go over this forecast one more time to make sure we're prepared for the day.
They got married when Dolly Parton was 20. But first, it is 7:17. Time to check your local weather.
We are watching for those winds to be a little breezy today as we're heading into the next few hours, and we've got that weather impact alert for today for strong to severe storms and a few damaging winds. So making sure you're staying informed and having a plan for today and the latest way to get the watches and warnings. That is very important. We are in that area of 3 of 5 for the Storm Prediction Center. So across the state today, we're going to have breezy conditions. Isolated tornadoes are possible, but windy conditions persist through Wednesday and better conditions by Thursday.
Looks like the Millers got some new furniture. And the Garcias? What? The tip.
All right, thanks for sticking with me. We had to do that quick cut in there real quick. We jump over there and do those quick when now your local weather. Well, that's me. So we're doing that real quick, and we'll have another one, I think coming up at 7:25 that I'll have to do. But until then, we're going to answer some questions and keep you updated on the latest information. And you'll see me kind of jump in here on my computer as well to find the latest that's going on with any updates that we have. But again, okay, so a lot of people, Peyton was telling me, my producer was saying that a lot of people are talking about the hail potential. And again, that is possible up to a 1/4 inch. But again, out of the 3, when we talk about tornadoes, we talk about wind and we talk about hail. Hail is the least that we are expecting of these. Now, that doesn't mean we're looking for an outbreak of tornadoes by any means. It just means the situation, you can always get hail with these tornadoes. But as we are looking at this storm system, it's just not producing that as of right now. But again, I know that's a typical weather meteorologist answer, maybe. But again, with this system, we're not looking for a lot of hail and certainly not looking for the large hail. But it's one of those systems, anytime you have a severe system come through, hail is possible. But if we do receive it, it will be less than a 1/4 inch. So, and it shouldn't be widespread by any means. But that's one of those things too that we can kind of tell as the system evolves what is happening. We'll be able to give you the updates. And again, we're talking about streaming now. I'm going to stream again with Simone at 10:30. You can also join me on the Vine at 9. We'll go over the weather then, and then Tom and Nathan are going to stream one more time, and they'll really know exactly. Of course, a lot of the system will have come through by that point, but we'll be able to tell you a little bit more throughout the day, all day. So we've got another question. Peyton, what's the question? Okay, so this system, why is it so windy? It is all about pressure gradient. When you're talking about the atmosphere, I'm going to set my drink down over here. When you're talking about pressure gradient, the system, the low pressure system, they wrap up, and the tighter it is, the stronger the system is, if you will. And all of the system just kind of flows with it. I'm going to go back here real quick to one of our graphics that will help explain that just a little bit more. The tighter the gradient, the more we are talking about wind. When you're thinking about even water, talking about that confluence of water or any type of liquid, as it continues wide, it's not necessarily that fast. But the tighter the gradient or the tighter that path for the water, it speeds up. And again, all that movement keeps it going. So that's one of the reasons we've got that the winds are being so windy, and that system is just very strong that is off to the west of us right now. Again, let me find that graphic that I am looking for here. This one right here. This again is our overview of our area right now, and we are seeing off to, it'll load here in just a second, as we are seeing our system off to, again, the west is really wound up there. I'm going to turn around here and kind of show you. The low pressure system is here, and it continues to just wind, and as it does, it's pushing all of this to us as well. Now, as it continues to push, that system, that low pressure system, is continuing to push through, and it's going to make its way. It is still very tightly wound as it comes over Arkansas, so that gradient, talking about, it's not wide, it's very, very narrow, and it goes faster. And again, the system is very, very fast moving. That's why it's also bringing in that really cold air to push through. So again, with this system, we're continuing to see with the storms themselves being very breezy, but behind that, that's where we're going to start to see those winds continue. But the wind shear with this system itself, with the storms that are coming through, it's just very, very impressive. Again, it's just a very strong system. And so, got another question here. When does this all start? So let's go here real quick. We've got a very easy breezy graphic here that I can show you. I like to show you graphics where you can just take a look at it and not have to think about it too much. I think in the mornings, no one's really ready to really kind of dig in and think too much. So sometimes you're running past the TV with the baby, trying to figure out what to wear, what to put everyone in when it's going to rain. I like this graphic for that reason. So you can see on this area here, this lower, more darker orange, this is the 3 out of 5, that enhanced system from the Storm Prediction Center, meaning our possibility for severe weather is greater than our area just north of the metro. And then also, as far as the timing goes, it's already starting to push into western Arkansas. It's going to move quickly, and I think by the time we hit noon, they will mostly be in the clear. Central Arkansas, we're going to start to see the rain pushing in anywhere from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And then the really impactful storms, the heavier storms, the stronger storms are going to start to push in around anywhere from, we'll say 11 to 11:30 to noon, and maybe even a little bit after. So again, during that time frame, but I think by 3, most of that should be out of here. We may still have some residual storms and some rain showers. And as we're pushing off to the east, again, that's going to start to push in around noon, as we're hopefully starting to see most of those impactful storms push east, and again hoping that this line continues to just kind of rain itself out and not quite as strong. But we're still really concerned about southern Arkansas as a whole being the most impactful for any of those storms that could produce those isolated tornadoes. Now across the state, yes, everyone could certainly see this. We're going to see some severe thunderstorm warnings and watches throughout the day across the state. It's going to be a stormy day for sure, but it's going to move through quickly, and that's good news. But again, even outside of these storms, we're going to have some very, very windy conditions to think about. So do we have another question, Peyton? Yes, so we will be worried about flash flooding. Yes, this is fast moving, and some of these storms are going to be definitely heavy at times. So if you do live in that low-lying area, they're going to move fast, but there's going to be a lot of rain with this, a lot of liquid. So if you do live in those low-lying areas, making sure that you're just a little extra careful, keeping an eye on things. But as fast as it's moving, hopefully it'll be out of here quickly. But you know, those silly things about turn around, don't drown, it's such an important thing, because you don't know what's underneath the road there. It could give away, and I've seen that happen in many areas, actually here in Arkansas, where the road is just given away, and so that's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And also, it doesn't take much water to lift your car and kind of float it down the road. You would be surprised how little water it takes to float your car, and you have then lost control completely. And you know, God forbid you're near a body of water and it floats you that way. It is just not worth it. Turn around and just go a different way, wait. But yes, flash flooding is potential today with these heavier rains that push through. But again, the great part about all of this is that it is going to be moving fast. So we do love that. So we are going to do another cut in real quick for CBS Mornings. This one will be just a little over a minute and a half, but I'll be right back with you again. I love your questions. Bring them in. We're going to talk all about this weather, and again, we're going to keep you updated throughout the day. Can't wait to talk to you guys more, but give me just a couple of minutes and I'll be right back on the streaming app. Well, good morning. On this Tuesday, we are talking weather impact alert. We've got some strong to severe storms and damaging winds throughout the day. We should start to see that in central Arkansas around noon. The rain will start before then, but we're already starting to see things push into western Arkansas. So making sure you're staying informed, having a plan ready for today, and of course having multiple ways to receive those watches and warnings. We are still under that 3 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center and 2 out of 5 for just north of the metro. We are expecting severe to strong storms throughout throughout the day, and the winds will certainly be an issue that we are tackling. Here's the timing for these storms this morning. Again, already starting to see that push into western Arkansas, and especially in southern portion, we're starting to see some areas of engagement there in a tornado watch, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But again, by central Arkansas around 8:39, we'll start to see some rain, and then by noon, 1 o'clock, we'll start to see some of those more strong storms push through, and it will all push through quickly, and hopefully even in eastern Arkansas, it'll all be out of your way as well by 5, 6 o'clock tonight. Taking a look, a lot of activity in Oklahoma there, and you can see in Arkansas, we've already got some watches for us as well, and some rain showers beginning to push in. This is going to be an all-day event where we're going to see this continue to just again be developed and then push off to the east. So again, thunderstorm watch to our northwest Arkansas friends, and again, we've got a tornado watch here on the fringe of our area in western Arkansas. This is until 11 a.m. and a wind advisory, very windy today, 20 to 30 mile per hour gust, and could gust up to 50 miles per hour at times. The 7-day forecast does get much better today. We're going to have to keep our eyes on the sky for those storms, and Wednesday still a bit windy, but by Thursday things seem to calm down and we head back to those 60s and sunshine. Okay, and I'm back. Thanks for sticking around with me. We do those quickly just so that you guys can get and watch CBS Mornings and have a quick update on the weather. And I think we're good to go again for a little while here. But do we have any more questions, Peyton? You got it. All right, let's talk about that. Tornado potential for Little Rock is still there, but has it gone down a little bit? Yes, I think the biggest potential for tornadoes is going to be in southern Arkansas, but keeping that in perspective, I don't want anyone to put their guard down, because the entire state is at risk for that today, for some crazy winds that could be up to 60 miles per hour within some of these stronger storms. But we also are talking about some areas outside of that are going to have some windy conditions. Now the tornadoes, you've got to have a couple of different things for tornadoes. You've got to have instability, CAPE, and then you've also got to have wind shear. We are all full on that wind shear. We've got a lot of it, but we are looking for those areas of CAPE to be lacking a little bit. So as we're heading into the next few hours, we're going to watch for that. Now southern Arkansas, again, I think has the biggest risk for the tornado risk, but as we're heading a little bit more north, those chances do lessen, but they are there. So again, it's not looking for a big outbreak, and not in southern Arkansas either. We've got all the components, but they're kind of working and helping each other a little bit. Again, we don't have the perfect recipe for that, but again, we are going to completely keep you updated. I'm going to be on the Vine at 9, and so you can also watch weather there, but also Simone's going to join me at 10:30, and we're going to have a little bit more information, of course, as this system continues to push in on that potential for those tornadoes and then the winds and exactly what these storms are going to do. But we're going to have a great day together, because we're going to do it together and always better together. But stay with me again. We're going to talk a little bit more here in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining me.